Hello, everybody, and welcome to our live chat. We're so excited that you stuck around, and we're really excited to have with us Nick, Kassity, Jordan, and Juan. So they're here to answer all of your questions live, and we're just going to jump right in. So we did have a few questions that were submitted before the event, so we're going to start with those, but we saw lots of activity in the chat, so we appreciate you putting your questions there, and we're going to get to some of those as well. So the first question I have is for Nick. How can I use my social media presence to help transition me out of the field and into my next type of painting career once the time comes?
So whether you're an employee painter that eventually wants to grow in a company or start your own, or you're a sole proprietor that wants to professionalize your company, it's so important to lay down that base of social media, because the new word of mouth is that Google search that leads to social media. So lots of pictures, lots of content, so that when people go and search you, they can get a feel for who you are and potentially have you do things for them.
Yes, sure. Yeah. Now, Juan, I know you had some great tips on this with your folders that you shared during the conversation.
Yeah, no, that's what we were talking earlier. So something that's important, I guess, is instead of going through our whole phone, I've learned to create folders. So now I can put all these videos or pictures, and I can name them depending on where they stand. And so that's great, because when I come back to do a video, then that's going to help me maximize my time. And I have to go through my whole thousands of pictures and videos, you know, because something that you guys know, if we're going to do these videos, we're going to go through a lot of videos. Yeah. We're not going to just take one video. So please, just know that it is going to take a lot of videos to get to the one you want.
Yeah, and I love that. Just build a strong foundation, stay organized. So, all right, our next question is for Kassity and Jordan. So what ways can I generate more followers and reach more people besides being constantly active on Instagram?
Well, something we love to do is just be out in our community and talking to people. So whenever we are at a coffee shop or even just meeting someone around us, it's always good to share what you're doing and share your Instagram handles, your Facebook profiles, and get them to follow you right on the spot.
So you just ask them?
Just ask them right out, yeah.
And you said you actually will grab their phone.
Yeah, I'll grab a phone, and you know, it's hard to follow, like, spell it out for me, so I'll just write it in for them. And that's the easiest way for a solid follow.
I love it, I love it. Jordan?
Yeah, so do that. And then in addition, if posting every single day feels really stressful, you don't have to do that. You can get by with posting about 3 times a day. Focus on creating more solid content.
3 times a week.
3 times a week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 times a day. That's tough.
If
you got it, you got it.
Okay, so we got that down. In addition to that, form genuine relationships with like-minded people like we have here today. And when you have a really solid piece of content that you're proud of, that will add value for a lot of painters, ask those like-minded people to share your content so that you can reach more people. And then, lastly, I would say you can consider actually paying micro-influencers to share your content. Maybe geo-targeted micro-influencers, which I should probably explain what those 2 terms are. So if you go this route, you want to find your local people in your geo-targeted area. Means like if you're in Cleveland, you're going to want to find Cleveland-based micro-influencers, right, who can share your content. Micro-influencers is someone, let's say look for someone with like less than 50,000 followers, maybe less than 100,000 followers. Definitely don't go higher than 500,000 followers, who has a niche audience, who's really engaged, and ask them to share your content. They might tell you that it's going to cost a few $100s, and that's where you can consider it and how it's going to align with your marketing budget.
Yep.
Awesome.
Those are great tips. Thank you. Okay, Juan, any advice on what equipment works best for creating content and getting things for social media in order?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, all we need nowadays is our phone.
Yeah.
We all have a phone.
Yep.
And some of these phones are better than some of the cameras. So
yeah.
You just need a phone. I carry around it's like a $20 tripod that I carry with me, and that's all you need. Other than that, you can use the digital tools, which are I like the AI assisted tools, because you can just use them for so many different aspects of from creating the video to posting the video to actually the one that I use is ChatGPT. And that what I like is I can put a sentence in there, and I can I can put a phrase, and I can ask him to say, hey, create a sentence for this based on this. And it'll give me a whole sentence. And then from there, I pick and choose, and then make it my own and make it more human.
Yes.
And
yeah.
But it alleviates a lot of the stress, because sometimes we don't know what to put.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
so use that. I think that those are amazing.
Now, Jordan, I know you had a couple tips on how you use AI. We'll just jump right into that because there was a ton of questions in the chat about AI. You talked about how you use it differently on Instagram versus YouTube.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I thought those were some great tips.
Absolutely. So with Instagram, I lean less on ChatGPT for actually writing captions. Maybe I'll write a caption and then I'll ask ChatGPT if they can zhuzh it up a little bit. But I won't use it to actually write my captions on Instagram because that's our pride. Our Instagram is where we put the most effort. And so with Instagram, we want to make sure we're maintaining our brand voice and using our natural voice as much as possible. When it comes to YouTube, where I'm less concerned about the caption being perfect, I will take advantage of the fact that it lets you use up to 5,000 characters. So I'll go to ChatGPT, I'll say, hey, ChatGPT, write me a caption that's 5,000 characters that will attract an audience in Cleveland, Ohio, who is homeowners, and please keyword stuff it with high quality painter and blah, 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 all these things. And immediately it will give you a 5,000 word caption. I'll slap it on the YouTube video. Check it through, make sure it's good.
You have to definitely
make sure it's
check
good. Make sure you're not lying to people. And then upload it to YouTube. Those videos have helped us get 10,000 views and more with 50 followers on YouTube.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Insane.
I love it. And now, Kassity, I know you have a hack that you use or a tool for creating content. So we wanted you to share that.
Painters have so many tools, right? Just on hand always. So I found that my phone fits perfectly in a roll of painter's tape.
There you go.
And you just hold it up and it can just be your own little tripod, like on a ladder or windowsill.
So don't let not having the right tools be the thing that's holding you back from creating great content. All right, let's get to some of our audience questions. So for Nick, creating content is important, but let's talk about getting leads. As far as paid lead sources, can you talk about what channels you recommend? Angie, Yellow Pages, Nextdoor have been mentioned all in the chat.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of the named sites where you can go, and they fall under a category of paid lead sources. So think of things where you can pull a lever, you can exchange some cash, and you will get some leads in return. And the question of good or bad or which one is way less important than knowing the system in which to win with those. There is a completely different operating system you need to do as a business owner to win at those. If you, as a painter, turn it on in the morning, paint for 10 hours, come home and check your leads, all those leads have already been acted on by other painters. You need to immediately answer your phone call and you need to immediately schedule an estimate. If you do not do that, they're gonna charge you for all those leads and you could go through a dispute process with them to do that. But really what you have to do is you need to man your phone and you need to act on them immediately. I know contractors who have had a lot of frustration and friction with those. It's because they didn't operate under that system. We know some very professional contractors that decided to play that game and do very well with it, but it's immediacy.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then ladies, you have had a lot of success building your business with Instagram. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a majority of our leads are coming in through directly Instagram and referrals. I'll let Jordan kind of take this away, but it's been our entire lead generation is just Instagram.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is make it super easy for people to book your estimates. Do not make them work hard. You will just lose so many people. That was one of the first things we did when we started this business years ago, is I went into Instagram's action buttons, which is a business tool, and you can turn on a book button and then connect it with some connected, they partner with all these various calendars. We use Square because it was the easiest. And all people have to do is go to your profile, tap book, and within 30 seconds, they're booked in your calendar. So that is how easy you want to make it for people.
I think that immediacy and making it as frictionless as possible is really the key to anything when you're using social media for lead generation. So, okay, we have another question from Landon. What % of your marketing budget would you allocate towards social media versus traditional marketing, flyers, signs, and wraps? So Juan, I don't know if you want to take that one or...
I think Nick has a lot more experience
gonna
on
say
this
this
than
guy.
myself. I just want to say.
Oh, data and feelings. All right.
Data and feelings.
Data and feelings. So how much towards social media? I'll give some general industry benchmarks and then we can talk about social media. So generally accepted, most professional paint businesses like to keep their marketing budget to 3.5 to 5%. That's on the low side. That's kind of a reach
Of
goal
sales,
for most.
right?
Of total revenue sales, yes. So the top line revenue. So If you want to be in a little bit more growth mode, you kind of have to look towards that 7 to 10%. That's a commonly accepted industry benchmark. So if you're a $1 million business, if you really want to grow, potentially $100,000 of spend. Now, how much to spend of that on social media should be solely reliant on the experiments you do. So we're talking about social media today, but this applies for any marketing channel, which is none of these tips matter if you don't track your data from it. So think of that proverbial funnel. You have leads that turn into estimates, that turn into sold jobs. You need to know the conversion rate from how many people contact you, the percentage that turns into estimates, the percentage that turns into closed jobs, and you need to attach the marketing channel. Could be Facebook, could be Instagram, could be Angie's List, any of those things, to actually let you know how much to then spend on Facebook. If Facebook doesn't get you any business, don't spend any money on it. You need to find the channel that actually gives you a return on investment.
Right. No, I think that's great. Do you guys have any tips for how you track the metrics?
So in our business, just learning from Nick and a lot of all these great businesses here, what we started doing charts for everything. And so you're just in charge of following up on those charts. And as you go, you start seeing, repetitions. And like he says, that data is going to give you that information. So we do it from the job side to everything that we do. And so it's important to keep that. How you do it, it just depends on what you access. But I mean, Google Drive, Google Sheets, that's what we use, and it's just pretty straightforward.
And you guys mentioned it too, where you have a book it button through Instagram. You know those leads come from Instagram.
Exactly.
And you can do something as simple as on your website, have a drop-down list of where did you hear about us.
Yeah.
The client has to do that in order to book an estimate with you. Automatic marketing research.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, let's see what else we've got coming in. So let's see. Celine asks, how do you handle negative responses on social media that could impact your business reputation?
You got to take this.
One is just take care of your mental health first. If you're getting a lot of negative feedback on something that doesn't necessarily pertain to what you're doing, which is often the case, just remember that it's not personal ever. It's never personal.
Which is so easy, right?
It's just so easy, right? It's so easy. Just forget about it. I have heard the term, post and ghost, so it's a matter of, putting it out there. And maybe if it does bother you, don't look at them. Don't look at the negative feedback. In our case, we've gotten a lot of, positive things from our negative feedback. You've heard my sandals are quite the talk on Facebook. But like Jordan's explained to me is, that negative feedback gets it in the algorithm because more people are commenting on it.
And I feel like if you're a good, reputable company, oftentimes your fans or your customers will sort of come to your defense.
100%.
And like,
100%.
I think the key is not to engage.
Yeah.
But is there a way, have any of you ever reached out, privately or through a direct message and said, hey, like we'd like to make this right? Or how have you handled that? I'm curious. I know.
Well, we had an incident not too long ago, and we asked in our group, and what they basically said was like, the best thing you can do is just respond. Just be polite, respond, and say that we apologize that we created this inconvenience for you. And just try to make it amendment as much as you can, and that's all you can do. What it does from there, maybe you're not satisfying this client need, but whoever is reading this feedback can be like, oh, I like it that you respond. So you're creating something good out of a negative situation.
Yep, absolutely.
I can add a tiny bit before we move on.
Yeah.
One thing I don't recommend doing is defending yourself, especially if it seems like it's a troll, unlikely a real person.
They're baiting you.
And they're just making fun of you.
Yes, exactly.
I see a lot of painters kind of like defending themselves, and I just don't recommend getting in that trap. It's not going to feel good to do that. And we kind of play with it. Like Kassity will throw up like funny, silly emojis back, and and it's like we have gotten messages of support for how we handle our public negative feedback.
Yeah, I think that's great. Just, respond in a way that's very respectful, but then also not take it too seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this is from Joshua. This can be for anyone. Do you ask your customers to sign any kind of release before you film or record on their property?
We do. So we have in our contract, there's a special sheet there for its property release form, and so they sign the whole contract, and then when they sign, of course, they have to read everything, and of course, then later on, we still ask, say it was in our contract, but this is why we do it. And we always emphasize that we do this for educational, for publicity and marketing for our business. And we ask if there's anything in specific that they're not, happy or they wouldn't want us to show. And with that said, you have to be respectful of people's properties too. I think that is a big, big part. If you're respectful, and because not to be posting, so I think that's big.
Yeah.
So that's
I love
what
that
we
you
do.
have it in your contract, but then you also call it out. I think that just shows a level of professionalism and service that a lot of homeowners probably appreciate.
Exactly, and I'll be honest with you, most of them, they're like, oh yes, please,
Yeah.
please, some of my clients, they're like, well, how come I'm not being, posted on your, what does it take for me, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I love it. I love it. Do you guys do anything particular?
We do not, but it does not. I can't see how that can hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of our clients are very, exclusive clients.
Yes.
And some of the actual homes we go to work, we have to sign an NDA before we even look at the job. So that's what we took it from. Just be respectful.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I would say, verbal communication is important, transparency is important, but also just knowing, not to show parts of a bedroom,
Yeah.
or like not having the address, on your social
Right.
media. We do
Yes.
take careful, attention to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good tips. Colby says, I seem to get social media burnout after posting content day after day. How do you keep it up without getting burned out? We're talking about this in the makeup.
I can start this. Number one, you put your phone down when you're feeling the burnout. I experienced social media burnout today. I've been posting
witnessed it.
so many stories, and I put my phone down. I said, I'm not going to pick it up anymore until we leave. So just honor that when you're feeling like stuck, and maybe you get lost in a state of comparison to all the other amazing painters. Put your phone away.
yeah,
Yep.
Come back to it when you're feeling better.
Walk away from the device.
Yeah, walk away.
that's true. Don't force it.
Did you have something else to share?
No. I think it's the same thing. I do that. There's days that you will not see anything on my personal, and it's just not that I don't have anything to put. It's just you just
Need a
kinda
break.
get up there. Yes, too much.
Yep.
My own little tip with that too is when you are feeling good, when you are wanting to collect content, collect a bunch.
Yeah.
You can always come back to it. We're cycling through things from months ago.
Yep.
So it's always nice that, when you're in it, go for it.
That's right.
And use the folders.
Use
like
the folders.
Juan said.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah, organize
I think
it.
that's a great tip because there's
Yeah.
just days you're not feeling it, and if you try to force it, it's going to come across as inauthentic. So.
Yeah.
And we'd heard the authenticity word big time through this entire conference, so
That's right.
it's great advice.
We're humans.
We are,
Yes,
yes,
we
we
We're
are.
humans.
So this is from Yvette. Do you recommend posting on holidays or is social media overly flooded with content on those days? If you do, what do you post?
I can start this one because I have a personal pet peeve of the over edited holiday card type of content in the newsfeed. Those pieces of content rarely get high engagement. Okay, so you need to listen to that. What I do recommend is if it feels right for you to post on these holidays, post a really natural image of you and your family celebrating or you and your team celebrating. That is going to speak to an audience much better than a postal
Sounds
card.
like authenticity.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Always
Or
be
even
Exactly.
like tips, 3 ways to survive the holidays with your
Yeah.
family.
There you
Or,
go.
something kind of fun like that. But I think it either has to be authentic, engaging, interesting, something that's going to serve a purpose versus just that very
make it comparable.
templated
Yes.
holiday greeting.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yep.
Let's see. So this is from Joshua. Do you think a website is still worth having with all social media platforms available?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
So
goodness. Ooh.
This is
Yes.
oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Minnesota
coming
just came out. I'm sorry. No, so this is I travel around the country and do master's classes with people. I collect a lot of data from my business, and there's a thing known as the quadrinity. There is a website, there's a Google Maps listing, there's Facebook, and there is an Instagram. If you are a professional painting business, those are not nice to haves. Those have them or nobody knows you're alive. I mean, they're literally the entrance fee into this. So 16 years I've been operating my business. I started off with newspaper and yellow pages, and then social media showed up.
tablets?
No, how dare you? In the late 1900s.
In the 1800s.
So back then, if you were a painter and you had a website, people were like, wow, painter website. And now if you don't, you're just not findable. So really that quadrinity, those 4 things will do the minimum to put you on the map so that anybody can find you, because the new word of mouth is Google. You might ask somebody for a referral, but then that person is going to put their name into Google and what comes up. And if you have a really good social media following, all that stuff naturally comes up. And if you regularly post, it's higher in that.
Say the quadrants again, the quadrinity.
The quadrinity is a website, is a Google Maps listing, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, for people who have done those and done a lot of stuff, there's 31 other things you can also do, but really, if we talked about burnout, there's so much out there, do those. Do those.
Okay, we've got some time for more questions, so keep them coming in the chat. Let's see, this is from Nikki. Do you think it is important to separate your business content from your personal content on social media? Why or why not?
Oh, definitely. That's, that's big. We were just having this conversation earlier. It's like, if you're a painter, you want to talk about progress of your paint. You want to show your paint jobs. You want to show where you work and what you do, right? In your personal, you can show however you like. You can either invite your clients, or anyone can be private if you like. But in your personal, then you can create whatever it is for your personal. And so it's, I think it's crucial, to have separate. To have separate, So
what do you guys think?
I think so.
Counterpoint.
I was going to say, I agree. But I think there can be some crossover too. I think that authenticity piece, we show up as we are. So sometimes there is something that I'm like, oh, my family, my friends would love to see this, this event in general. I'm sharing this.
Wait, is your mom watching?
Hi, Shelly. My mom might be here online.
Awesome.
But no, I think it's important. Whatever feels right to you personally, that's the most important.
So it's been interesting, a long arc of social media, which is authenticity comes down to what is right for you, your family, and your business. And for years, the common knee-jerk advice when social media became prominent is you got to separate everything. You got to separate everything. And there was just something inside me that said, like, my personal values and my business values and my likes and the way I live my life are so closely aligned. For certain circumstances, it's a value add to have that intertwined. Now, you look at all of that intertwined, it all feeds into one another. My personal life adds value there, professional value there. But that was just something that's very specific to me. And you have a certain set of core values, you follow them, you don't stray from them, and it's a value add.
I also think it depends on where you are in your business. So Nick, obviously you have your painting company, but Nick, you are a brand. You are, right? So I think being thoughtful about, Nick, the painting company, Nick, the Ask a Painter Live, and then Nick, the...
It's a really good point because there's about 8 social media accounts I have. So there is the private, there's the painting business, there's Ask a Painter, and there's other things. And there are specific things, like Juan was saying. There's certain pieces of content and things that only go on certain channels, and then some cross those boundaries. So it's a very good point, very good clarification.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so if this is for you, Juan, specifically. I want to connect with other Hispanic painting pros so we can learn from each other. Where on social media can I connect with others in this space?
Oh, cool. This is what I love to talk about. Here we go. No one else is talking. No. Well, we can start by Sherwin-Williams. I believe that not a lot of our industry is aware of all the tools the Sherwin-Williams has, especially for the Spanish community. Then we have PCA, of course, which a lot of tools. We can we have Los Pintores, which is our podcast. Please listen to that. There's a lot of tools
the host?
there.
I feel like there's a really cool host.
Sometimes I'll be there. Just kidding. Sometimes.
Go ahead, plug it.
Me or Jose, by the way. But there are a lot of tools. The only thing is that we have to be involved. I think start looking. Facebook. There's a lot of groups. We have a group in WhatsApp as well, which is over 100 contractors. But what I like about that is that it's a small group, but we're very, very engaged. I think that this year, well, not this year, but we live in a time in our industry that is very interesting for the Hispanic community. Like, there are so many things coming up that it is going to be. So just start getting involved, start going through social media, especially Facebook, get into a group, and you'll see how much resources are out there.
Yeah, there's a lot online, there's a lot in person. So you mentioned the PCA, there's great events. Sherwin-Williams has great networking events that are for the Hispanic contractors.
Well, you guys have the Aquiantre Pros, and then you have the Pro app, which is full in Spanish.
Full in Spanish, yep.
So that's a very great tool.
Yep. And then for women in paint, I'm going to kind of just
Yeah, of
piggyback
course.
off of that comment because, you know, I think, what is it? You'll know the statistic, 3% of painters or
Yeah.
painting companies are owned or operated by women.
Yep.
And so where have you both found your community?
We're really good at finding our community within Cleveland because that's where we're at, and there's tons of women in paint also just owned businesses, women-owned businesses. So that's just where we started, but also connecting with people in Sherwin. Even if I'm in Sherwin shopping and I see another woman painter, I'm always connecting with them. But honestly, Facebook has a lot of really good groups, and you might be able to speak to that.
Yeah, Facebook groups we've heard a lot about, but something you can do literally right now is just search a hashtag for people that you want to connect with. If you feel like you're the only woman painter, and you really want to find some others, search, I think Ladies of Paint is a great hashtag. If you want to connect with Hispanic painters, I would be surprised if Hispanic painters was not a hashtag. And then,
I'm pretty sure there is. I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up.
It's like, I'm going to start that now.
and then what you do from there is you find people that look like you, speak like you, feel like you could relate to them, send them a message.
Yeah.
Hey,
very true.
I love this about your page. How do you do that? Hey,
Or just
anything.
say hi.
Or just say
Yes.
hi.
Yeah.
Remember Nick's phone booth story where he just messaged the guy. And, it's that simple to connect with these people that feel so far away because they're through a screen.
Well, Juan said it very cool. This is an interesting time in our industry because the data and the feelings, right? So the data is, you hear about the disparity in wages between men and women, 70 cents to $1, things like that. In our industry, the painting industry, there is actually perfect wage parity. It's 1-to-1. And that's a stat that is not thrown around enough. So on average, a female painter and a male painter will be paid the same in our industry. And so we should be way more proud of that than we are. Juan and I are directors on the Painting Contractors Association, the PCA. It's a 140-year-old nonprofit that serves the industry. And when we look around, 63% of our industry is likely Spanish speaking or speak some Spanish, right? Only 3% is women, but there's wage parity. Within the PCA, we saw that with the help of champions like Sherwin. We banded together, and in the 140-year history of that nonprofit, last year was the first year that we recruited Juan, we recruited women, we have committees, we have specific events for them, and now we're leveraging in to actually cater to our demographic and be proud of that.
Yeah, you're right. It's an exciting time, and I think if you start looking for it, you'll find it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Well, yes. So,
Yeah.
we've got a few minutes left, so I'm going to keep going with the questions. This one says, social media channels are always changing. What tools do you learn the ins and outs of the channels? So I know that, Jordan, you have a tool that you love to use from Sherwin-Williams.
Oh, yes. I'm like, I almost wanted to have you repeat
But you
the
can
question,
also
but I
do-
think
yeah,
I've got
so-
it down.
yeah, so
the
channels
social
are
media
enough.
marketing guide is what you're referring to.
Yes,
That's
but on the
great.
tools too, yeah.
That's great, and we're going to talk about that more. But I actually would prefer if you could repeat the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So social media channels are always changing. What tools do you use
Okay.
to learn the ins and outs?
Got it. Okay, thank you. So this is more simple than you'd think.
Resources.
Yeah, more simple than you'd think. These social media platforms, you need to first and foremost know, want you to do well. Surprise.
Yeah.
They don't hate you. If you have that belief, let it go. They want you to do well. And so what do? They tell you how to do well. If you go to Instagram for business or TikTok for business, like whatever platform you like that you want to know, go to them because they're going to tell you how to do the platforms better than almost anyone can. So that's really great. Find some newsletters that you love. I used to love Later blog for Instagram. I don't use it as much anymore. Social media marketing world. There's events you can go to. There's a Social Media Today is a great news source. So just fill your mind with information from all these other resources.
Yeah, and like a great place to start is, I got to plug it, the Sherwin-Williams Social Media Guide. It's great for beginners. It's great to just brush up on some like basic tips, and you can get that through our website. You can get it, you talk by speaking to your rep, your local store manager, so there's lots of ways to reach that. There's another question that I wanted to get to that was put in beforehand, which was, we get this question a lot, actually. So one of the questions was, how can we partner or collaborate with Sherwin-Williams more? So, we love featuring our projects and your projects on social media, right? We're really proud of that. So if you were interested in having a chance for your content to be shared, all you have to do is when you're posting any of this great content, share your photo, share your projects, and then use the hashtag SWColorLove. and that will give you a chance to be featured on our pages. But then if you're looking for a more formal opportunity or more formal partnership, I believe we're going to put the email up on the screen, but you can email swinfluencer@edelman.com. So again, that's swinfluencer@edelman.com, and that's how we sort of start reviewing those types of partnerships.
You guys have no idea how cool it is that when Sherwin features somebody's project, that's like a huge badge of honor.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting. So, okay, I think we've got time for a couple more questions. Let's see. So this is from Kelly. I'm super new to owning a business. When you first started, how did you get past the insecurity of having a lot of competitors, especially ones that can undersell you?
I don't think you ever passed that.
You know,
Try to block it out.
Data and feelings.
Data and feelings, they're there.
Feelings is every other painter out there is the enemy and they're the competition, and they're actively stealing food from your children by just owning a painting company. OG. It is not the case. So interestingly enough, gathering groups, the PCA, we can statistically prove based on economics, the number of gallons sold, the amount of paint stores, the amount of paint businesses, the amount of households in the United States, that in the residential repaint market at this state of the industry right now, there is no competition because the homeowner is vastly underserved by a professional home service. It's actually, sometimes we have to put ourselves in the shoes of the homeowner. It is very hard to get a very professional service for your home.
Yes. It's hard to get a call back.
It's hard to get anything. So honestly, the data and the feelings are, you may think that everybody's competition, but what you're doing is you're blaming an externality for maybe some things that you should be taking internally and fixing. And right now, one of the greatest benefits, like when you want to talk about American dream stuff, is there's really nothing stopping you. You're only limited by your ability to execute your business plan. So if you can just try that, you can have that feeling. If you just try that, you'll find that you will determine your own success.
I have a friend that says feelings are real, they're just not facts.
I like that.
Good one, right?
I like that.
All right. Last question. This is a good one. I want everyone to answer, but sort of quickly.
Okay.
This person says, I'm uncomfortable being on camera. None of us ever feel that way, right? How do I get used to this?
Practice.
Yeah.
Practice, practice, practice. Again, like I said, you're going to have, if I pull out my phone and show you how many videos of myself I have, it's probably ridiculous, but it is that.
Yeah.
It's the comfort, is you being in front of the camera and you getting that. You're still going to get those sweaty hands because we do, right?
Yeah.
But you know what is the more you do it, it's just like when you learn how to paint.
Yeah.
You were so nervous with the brush and you can't get that straight line. After using it for a few months, guess what? You had one of the straightest lines. So it's same thing.
You forgot you never knew.
Exactly. So consistency and just do it.
Just do it.
Just put it out there.
I would say, number one, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Just do it. If you're an introvert, it might really help to have a friend film you and have this friend ask you direct questions like, hey, what are you currently working on? Okay, what are you excited about? What are you learning about this project? So that will get you actually pumping valuable information out and just keep going with it.
I am that introvert.
So,
So honestly, yes, having someone there does really help you. But if you're just by yourself, shake it off. You know what I mean? It's never going to get out there if you don't do it. So repetition's key, and just try to block all the noise out as best you can, and show up authentically. I can never say that word. Authentically, be yourself. It's people love you for you. So.
Yep.
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? Just start doing it, get the repetitions in, authenticity, and the hack for creating really good social media is if it's your passion, if what you're doing is your passion, it's super easy. So I could talk extemporaneously about oil primer or job costing for an hour and 45 minutes.
There you go.
yes, you can.
Because of American history, not so much. So it's just find your passion.
Yeah, I think keep it real to you, and that will come through. So thank you all so much for being here and for helping us with our very first virtual social media conference at Sherwin-Williams. We hope that this was valuable and worth the time and effort. We really appreciate the engagement, the comments and questions. And for more information about social media tools from Sherwin-Williams, please, we have stores, 4,500 stores plus. Pop into a Sherwin-Williams store, talk to the store manager, connect with your local sales rep. We're here to help. We're here to help you grow and be successful. You can always go online at sherwinwilliams.com as well. And thank you so much, all of you, for being here, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.